All right, we are back on Morning Line, our final segment this morning. We are talking with News Channel 5 Chief Investigative Reporter Phil Williams about his revealed investigation into Hillsdale College and the like. And there is another piece that's going to be aired in this continuing investigation tonight on News Channel 5 at 6. It'll be worth seeing, and for a little preview of what you can expect, let's have a look.
This internal poll was commissioned by a group known as SCORE, which is one of those groups pushing for more taxpayer money to go to those privately operated charter schools. The goal, trying to figure out how they can sell you on that idea.
This is absolute proof that they are trying to misrepresent charter schools to the people of Tennessee.
We showed the poll results to State Representative John Ray Clemens. The Nashville Democrat has long argued that Tennesseans are highly protective of their local public schools.
Well, my immediate reaction to this is that people across Tennessee still value public schools and public education.
In fact, the SCORE poll shows public schools have a 68% favorability rating, higher than private schools, magnet schools, and charter schools.
68% is an approval rating anyone would like to see.
That 68% is higher than the favorability ratings for the governor and the legislature. What conclusion do you draw from the fact that public schools are more popular than the governor or the legislature?
People value public school teachers, and they want the best possible education for their child, and they trust our public schools.
That is just one of the findings we discovered in this document about how you really feel about your public schools. I'll share more exclusive details tonight at 6. Phil Williams, News Channel 5 Investigates.
All right, from tape to live. And so, yeah, very interesting in terms of popularity. Public schools more popular than the legislature or the governor.
Yeah, and these groups that really want to push charter schools and push vouchers really try to emphasize the negatives about public school. But I think what we found with the Larry Yarn hidden camera video is people generally like their public schools. I mean, 68%. Favorability rating, better than the governor, better than the legislature, and people did not like it when public school teachers were badmouthed in such a way. But if you want to push charter schools, if you want to push vouchers, you've got to undermine public confidence in public schools. And I thought it was interesting when we got a leaked copy of this poll from inside this pro-charter group that public schools are pretty darn popular.
And they know that.
And they know that.
But what they represent publicly in their efforts, PR-wise and the like, is that, oh, the rank and file are not satisfied with public schools, you need something different?
And here's a little tease. We've been talking about the Tennessee Public Charter Commission. This poll reveals that it is not popular at all among Republicans, Democrats, and independents.
That what's not popular?
That the decisions being made at the state level.
Across the board.
Across the board.
Again, as we said, this is a rare instance of bipartisan agreement, correct?
Right. And so we have a system in place right now that is going to determine the fate of Hillsdale and other charter school applications across the state. Where, according to this own internal poll, people say, no thanks, I don't like this at all, by a 2-to-1 margin.
Wow. And that's what we'll get into. And yet it's still on course because of the way things are set up to possibly happen anyway.
Exactly.
And this is not to say that anyone is anti all charter schools or one way or there, and you're not pro anti anything. You just report what you find. There may be a place for charter schools, but there should be some agreement on whether or not it's something that people want or not.
Right. And this poll would indicate that we currently have a system in place in Tennessee. It passed through the legislature, the governor signed it, but this internal poll suggests it may not be what people really want.
And I guess then, if you're on the outside watching this and you say, well, if it's not what we really want, again, you get back to why is it being pushed by the governor? What is the agenda really? I mean, all politicians seem to sway oftentimes, as you know, and go whatever way the wind blows with public support. The governor probably is aware of this, and yet And again, does this just go back to the larger political picture?
Yeah, and a lot of this comes down to money and messaging. You have very well-financed groups that want to push charter schools, that want to push vouchers. And this poll was really designed to test messaging. It's like, okay, if we want to sell this, what messages do we have to use? What buzz phrases do we have to use?
Okay. Okay, so this gives them, okay, let's find out what we're up against, and then we can direct it. Has the messaging changed much since your story broke with the video?
Well,
I mean, what is Hillsdale send out much?
Well, Hillsdale actually has launched a major campaign to respond to the backlash. There was a text messaging, and that's mentioned in the Salon article. There was a text message campaign that went out to a number of people across the state, and then there's been a large mailing.
Yeah, I know some people that have received mailings on it. So they're trying to, and the message in those, I've not seen the mailing.
The message in those is interesting because Dr. Arns says that our video was, quote, selectively edited. But then he also says, yes, I said teachers come from the dumbest parts of the dumbest colleges, and I'll probably say it again. So
yeah, I mean, he didn't back down then off of this.
No.
You know, it would be nice to see you do an interview with Mr. Arns.
I would welcome that chance.
I know that Phil has reached out a couple of times, and you may reach out again to see whether or not at this point, they just haven't responded. Is that it?
Yeah, initially we tried to get interviews, and they just would not set that up.
Okay. Again, tonight's piece will be at 6 o'clock. Maybe, I'm sure, the lead, and it will go more into detail about what we're looking at there, about this poll. And then from there, Phil, I know you don't give away what else, but this story continues. There's going to be stories now between now, obviously, and maybe those public hearings, would you imagine? And you'll be covering those public hearings on this in September, and then the votes in October with the commission, correct?
Yeah, you know, every day almost I get a new lead.
I can imagine. How much have you heard, I'm just curious, from teachers when you did this story? I'm talking about public teachers across the state. What kind of I can only imagine how many, one, maybe horrified by what they see being said about them, but, you know, appreciative that you're exposing it. What have you heard?
Absolutely. And I hear from teachers now on a regular basis.
What are they saying, kind of? Are they disappointed? Are they hurt?
And that's the thing that I saw in an article over the weekend somewhere. You know, people talk about a teacher shortage. It's not that we don't have enough people who have, you know, gone to school to get trained. There's a teacher morale problem right now. People are walking away saying, you know, I've had it. And I think this story has really hit at that teacher morale problem. They feel disrespected. They feel like they're not supported. They feel like, you know, there are forces out there with a different agenda. And you're right. This has been the rare story that has cut across the political divide. We are such a divided country right now, but this story has united people in a way that I have not seen in years.
Me either. Me either. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think what's interesting about the story as well, it may have been hurtful, as you say, teachers feeling disrespect. I'm wondering, and I'm hopeful that some of them have seen the reaction, this bipartisanship, and realized, wait a second, you know, there's a lot of people just like us who are very upset with what he said.
Yeah, and
maybe that's helped a bit.
And you saw, like in Wilson County, that they had this big display, you know, signs, you know, we love our teachers. Right. And we've seen, you know, resolutions being passed in school boards across the state saying, you know, disregard what Larry Yarn says. We respect our teachers. We respect the colleges that are training our teachers. And so it has not worked out the way that Hillsdale would like for it to have worked out.
Yeah, well, still a long way to go on this. And Phil, thank you.
Absolutely.
I know, let me tell you, this guy's busy. He works a lot of stuff. I don't want to know what it is. I don't know until he comes on the big show or we see it in the lead in the newscast. But there will be a lead story tonight, and you need to watch. It's the very next chapter in this ongoing investigation, revealed. Hillsdale College Chief Investigative Reporter Phil Williams, thanks. Love having you come on. Next time, I promise I will have coffee for you.
Americano.
Yeah, he brought me one last time. And I don't know anyone that loves coffee coffee more than Phil Williams, and he needs it. Thanks again, Phil.
All right,
I really appreciate you coming on. We'll take a break. I'll have a programming note about tomorrow right after this. Stay with us.